Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Channie, and today we're watching a Nick Crowley video, and this is the darkest moments in TV history. Now, I feel like history of TV is quite big, but let's just find out which are the darkest moments in TV history. Listen, YouTube, if you read the chat and you're confused, it all makes sense if you join us over at twitch.tv/chanzonia, okay? Okay, if you want, of course, but you know, we have conversations over here. Let's just say that. Let's just leave it at that. We be having quite the conversations. So yeah, we have droplets. We do have droplets. You can come and collect your droplets over here. Then you can grow and become a ginormous drizzler, and you can be a level bajillion quadrillion drizzler by having a lot of droplets. Oh, the video is 33 minutes and 33 seconds. Should I be scared? Should I be scared? I don't know. Let's see. But yeah, I was gonna say, just trigger warning, because yeah, sometimes he covers quite serious and dark topics, so if you are sensitive to certain topics, maybe sit this one out. You can maybe have the screen up and mute, or the opposite, you know, whichever you're comfortable with.
Cars, bedsteads, weave hidden depths. It's the perfect place for an accident.
On the 29th of June 2025,
The
a group
river.
of teenagers ventured into the Miriam River in Bacabal, Brazil, for a quick morning swim. But after several minutes in the water, the group started to realize that one of its members, 13-year-old Raisa, was no longer beside them. And after calling out her name and searching the surrounding area, the realization set in. Raisa had disappeared. It was now likely somewhere in that murky water around them. The news sent shockwaves throughout the community, and straight away locals filled the area to help find this girl. But their attempts were all futile, and with each passing moment it grew more and more likely that Raisa had tragically drowned, with the search efforts shifting to recovery efforts the next morning. The tragedy led to various news stations arriving on the scene to help document the search, and for one reporter, Lenildo Frazao, he couldn't help but view Raisa's story as a cautionary tale. The Miriam River is particularly unassuming from the surface, which is exactly what made it so dangerous, since it carried with it an unexpectedly strong current and a bottom that was littered with sudden drop-offs, as even in shallow sections, one step could plunge you into deep water without warning. As a result, tragedies like this had sadly happened here before, and for Lenildo, this was the perfect time to highlight the river's dangers, in the hope of preventing one from ever happening again. And he had a unique idea to help achieve this. Rather than just explaining how dangerous the river was, Lenildo wanted to demonstrate it, and so he began to take off his shoes and his pants before entering the water.
Wait, is he also gonna drown?
In his hand.
Pois justamente aqui, pessoal, nós vamos entrar agora na água aqui para mostrar para vocês.
Or is he gonna get bitten by something?
Olha,
I'm
a gente já
scared.
vê que aqui a água é muito forte, ó. E vai descendo, ó. Vixe Maria, vai descendo aqui, viu? Ó.
The camera rolled as he waded into the river, at first going just to the depths of his knees, before the riverbed began to drop beneath him, sending the water all the way up to his chest.
Então, pessoal, e aí tem a correnteza, aqui já, olha. Ó,
Sir, come back.
pra frente.
That's enough. That's enough demonstration.
And all while this happened, he spoke to the viewers at home about how unsafe this area could be, especially for unattended children who weren't strong swimmers. But even with most of his body now submerged, he wanted
Why
to
is he
take
not
it
coming
even
back?
further in order to
Why?
prove his
We
point.
can see,
And
brother.
so-
Oh my god, I'm stressed already. I'm literally stressed already. Like, this is already triggering to me as a survivor of drowning. This is already triggering to me. Bro, your point has been proven literally the second you put your foot in that water. We already know, bro. Come on, just step the fuck out. We can talk about it. We can talk about, like, you know, the other stuff. Why the fuck are you almost freaking armpit deep into this water? What are we doing? We can see. Oh my god. What point is he trying to prove, brother? Oh, it's educational? Yeah, it's gonna be freaking death sentence at this point, bro. Like, he's already... Oh my god, he's literally gonna drown on TV. We're gonna witness him be a goner. Like, I'm not an unattended child, but I am not a strong swimmer at that part. Do you see the watch though? I was gonna say that. Blink that watch, bro, in this murky water. Brother, get out! We can't see it, Aura Farmy.
He continued wading towards the center of the river.
Why are you
right
going
in
to the
direction of
center?
the noticeably fast-moving current.
Why would he do
Until
that?
suddenly,
Olha, andei pouquinho aqui, ó. A água já tá acima do meu peito, para você ver a situação. Se eu andar pouquinho aqui...
Boom, gone, underwater.
Vou andar mais.
I'll walk further, brother. See? Was it something? Or was it deep?
Lenildu physically recoiled and let out a loud yell. He stood there for a moment, anxiously glaring into the water,
Something
before
is in
telling
there.
his crew, "I think there's something down here under
Oh my
the
god.
water."
Oh my god. Stop. No,
Whatever he
stop
had
it.
touched in those murky depths didn't seem natural, with Lenildu describing it as being soft. And quickly, he made his way back to the shore.
Wait. It's not her body, is it? Surely not. This is not where this is going. Surely not. Gulps.
Where he further explained why he was so shaken by the ordeal, admitting that what he stepped on felt like an arm.
Oh my god, no.
This is the exact moment that many believe Raisa was found, as just moments later, several locals would retrace Lenildu's steps and discover the 13-year-old's body in the same
Oh
exact
my
location.
god.
Raisa
Oh my
had
god, I
died
got
from an accidental
chills.
drowning, as she wasn't a strong swimmer, and had likely fallen into the deep water where she was held down by the current. The exact conditions that Lenildu had been warning the viewers about, when he unknowingly stepped on her corpse.
Oh my
With the entire
goodness.
ordeal culminating into what can only be described as one of the darkest moments in television history.
How far and what lengths have you gone to find these blocks?
Nick Crowley presents. What a great intro. Very dark. It's setting the tone truly.
I'm not a doctor.
May she rest in peace.
Individually, they're just like you and me, but together they are a source of endless fascination.
And we'll conduct a rigorous scientific experiment into twin telepathy.
Twin telepathy? Hold on, this Bob? The Ericson twins.
It was a peculiar sight. As traffic flowed through one of the UK's busiest roadways, the M6, CCTV
twins.
cameras captured two women walking down the narrow median, with a vehicle speeding past them on either side. These women were Sabina and Ursula Ericson.
I feel like I've seen her before. She was also in the thumbnail, but she's very familiar. I don't know if I've seen this story before and I just don't remember what it's about, or if I've seen someone who looks like her before.
40-year-old identical twin sisters who grew up in Sweden, with Ursula
Oh, I
eventually
was about to
moving
say.
to the US and Sabina to Ireland. Just one day before this footage was taken, on May 16, 2008, Ursula had made the long flight to visit Sabina at her home in Dublin. But things got off to a
Dublin.
troubling start when Sabina got into a verbal altercation with her husband and the father of her two kids, prompting both sisters to leave the house in the middle of the night without telling anyone. The next morning, the sisters emerged in the city of Liverpool, where they visited a police station and reported that Sabina's kids were in danger and were unsafe in her husband's care. Law enforcement briefly looked into the matter, but ultimately they didn't seem all too concerned with the children's well-being, and rather they seemed more troubled by the women themselves. Their behavior was just somewhat off, so much so that shortly after leaving the station, they were kicked off a public bus for exhibiting erratic behavior, which some passengers found threatening. And after the altercation, this erratic behavior continued, as for unknown reasons, the pair began walking towards the M6, and then eventually right onto it, where we see them now. It defied any sort of logic, and put them in an extremely dangerous position, a position where one wrong move could lead to a horrific accident. And sure enough, that's exactly what would happen, though it was anything but accidental. Without
Someone
warning,
pushed
both
someone?
women turned and then ran directly into the road, and for Sabina, directly into a car traveling in the fast lane.
Oh.
Immediately, local police were inundated with urgent calls about the ordeal, leading to a group of officers being dispatched to the scene. And coincidentally, the same group just so happened to have a camera crew following them as part of the show Motorway Cops. The show follows traffic officers as they handle their many daily encounters, ranging from mundane traffic infractions all the way to devastating tragedies. And this segment seemed destined for the latter.
Lane 3 is obviously the fastest lane in the motorway. Anyone being hit, you're expecting serious injury, if not life-threatening.
Despite the officers fearing the worst, however, when they arrived on the scene, they were met with a surprising sight. Standing there before them was Ursula and Sabina, who despite being struck by a car at high
They were fine?
speeds, appeared completely unharmed. In fact, both sisters were entirely calm, as they were shown casually speaking amongst themselves
Wait,
as
what?
if nothing ever happened. It was a miracle. And as the officers began trying to piece together the cause of this whole ordeal, everyone at the scene began to breathe a collective sigh of relief.
Until, did she walk
There
into
was
the
no way
truck?
that any of them could have known that their roles had just been cast in one of the most disturbing television scenes of all time.
Did she walk into the truck?
What we got is they were in the central res. They were trying to cross the Bravo. So as we approached, they hadn't seen us, mother. The red ones got knocked down by the red car over there. I've got an ambulance en route for her.
Right.
She seems all right, but
Yeah, I think she's doing it
I'm not
again.
a doctor. She has been knocked down.
Is
by
she the one that speaks English or the other one?
Yes. The other one.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Without a single word being spoken, Ursula dashed into the middle of oncoming traffic and directly into the path of a massive truck traveling at over 60 miles per hour.
I don't think he's
It
gonna show,
happened in a
but
literal instant.
we're probably
there was
gonna
hardly
hear
any
it.
chance to react, and before anyone could even begin to process what they had just witnessed, Sabina would also run into the road.
Wait,
not
the
after
sister
her
also.
sister, but rather straight into the path of an oncoming Volkswagen.
The other one. She's gonna run it.
Oh no! Mike Alpha, we need ambulance. Senior
Oh my
officers to the scene. We've got
goodness.
2 possible fatals.
Within just seconds, this completely calm scene had
What
turned to
caused
utter
this,
chaos, and both women were now lying on the pavement. Miraculously, they both were still alive. Sabina was stable but knocked unconscious, while Ursula was in rough shape. Her legs had been pulverized by the truck, with paramedics describing them as looking as if they had exploded.
Oh my god,
And
oh my
while she
god.
lay there on the pavement, she was wide awake and experiencing everything. Within seconds of receiving medical attention, Ursula began to cry out. But strangely, it wasn't in pain. Rather, she was yelling at the paramedics, cursing, and even attacking them for trying to help her.
So they want to die.
Calm down. Mine's very aggressive, spitting at me.
Shouting things like, "I recognize you. I know you're not real."
Come on,
What?
hit your head. Calm down.
Are they having
We
an
are the
episode
police.
together?
We are the police.
It was clear that she was suffering from some sort of delusion, but while officers had their hands full trying to subdue her, things were about to get even more hectic as Sabina started to regain consciousness. She had been brutally struck by a car, as evidenced by the damage to the vehicle itself. But like Ursula,
Oh my
she also
goodness.
appeared almost entirely unfazed, as she stood up and began to scream to her sister, "They're going to steal your organs." One of the officers tried to hold her back, but Sabina resisted.
Oscar Tango 3-3.
Oh my god.
Eventually
She
shoving
got
the woman to the ground.
hands. Oh my god, how did she do that?
Oscar Tango 3-3.
Good lord.
Eventually shoving
the
the
poor
woman to the
officer.
ground, before once again taking off into oncoming traffic.
Third time is crazy.
Stay!
Okay, I don't think it happened. Okay,
Stay
good.
there. Calm down.
Thankfully, this time the cars managed to avoid her, but it would take 6 officers
Oh
to
my
finally restrain her.
God.
And even with that many people, it was still a struggle.
Are
as
they
her
on
strength
something?
was
That's what
unlike
I'm
anything
wondering,
that-
because like he just said like it took 6 whole officers to stop her. So it's either they're on something or they're going through something mentally together. They did start off by saying they're twins, right? So maybe that's why they call the segment the twin telepathy or whatever. Like maybe they're both mentally going through something. But like, what is the something? Like, what thing could have you like willingly just run into traffic? And then when you wake up, she was like, "Oh, they're gonna steal your organs." Well, you didn't think of that when you decided to run in front of literally the ambulance and officers. Like, if that was your worry, I feel like, okay, this is gonna sound maybe like insensitive, or I don't know how to explain it. But basically, like, if that's your worry and the thing that you're delusional about right now, that they're gonna steal your organs, I personally then wouldn't go and do it in front of officers or medical people or in a public area. You know, like I would, if I wanted to be gone, I would be gone in a private area so no one would find me. Does that make sense? I'm just confused. But maybe they will explain by the end of it.
They had seen in a
yeah.
woman her size. And with Sabina now subdued, the chaos was
Could be
finally
intoxication.
over.
Could be cult
In the following
members.
moments, Ursula was airlifted to a local hospital where she underwent an extensive, yet successful emergency surgery, while Sabina was shockingly found to have no injuries, which allowed her to be
Interesting.
discharged into police custody after just 5 hours, where she was promptly arrested and sentenced to 1 day in prison for assaulting an officer, as well as trespassing on the motorway. And with both women now safe, one question burned at the forefront
Why?
of everyone's minds. Why had the Ericson twins done this? Well, the immediate theory was that this was all the result of drug use, But surprisingly, when given toxicology tests, no drugs
Came
or
clean?
alcohol would be found in either of their systems.
Or
They were
alcohol?
entirely sober during this ordeal, which left only one plausible
Mental
theory,
reasons.
that this was all the result of some sort of mental breakdown, with both women somehow experiencing its effects at the same time. Today, this case is used as one of the most glaring examples of a psychological disorder known as folie à deux, in which
Delusion or mental illness shared by two people in close association. Oh. Human brain is truly a miracle that's somehow functional. It's fascinating.
one
Folie à
person
deux.
suffering from delusions transmits said delusions onto a different person, leading to both people experiencing the same misconstrued version of reality. And while this is only a theory, it's
I wonder if this thing is more effective when you're like siblings or like twins and stuff. Does that come through stronger than if it's just like someone you're just close to experiencing the same delusions? I wonder if there's like, you know, levels to this.
clear that regardless of the how or why, these women were extremely mentally unwell during this event. In fact, during the TV program, an officer even mentioned that this could be a 136,
Yeah, she under arrest, baby.
Well, 136 if she is.
which is a code that allows law enforcement to hold people on account of their mental health to assure that they're safe to return to the public. But shockingly, not only did this never happen, but Sabina was
Really?
released without ever being given a mental health assessment.
Huh? Wait, what do you mean? Like, I get it, they only gave her a day. I thought they only gave her a day because they want to send her to, like, you know, to do a mental checkup and see if they're gonna admit her or something. What do you mean they only gave her one day and then they're like, okay, you're free to go outside? What? She's gonna try the shit again. She already tried it 3 times in front of your eyes. What?
In fact, she was never so much as looked over by a mental health professional, and was instead released the very next day after the incident. On top of this, when she was released, she was given no information about Ursula's whereabouts or her condition, or even resources to help find her way home, leaving Sabina still mentally unwell and now
just
stranded
out
in an
and about.
unfamiliar city, not knowing what happened to her sister.
Oh my
And
goodness.
sadly, her
She died.
delusions were far from over.
Yep, she surely died after this.
As she left the police station on the 19th of May, Sabina had nowhere to go, and so she began to wander, carrying her belongings in the same evidence bag that the police had given her earlier that day. Eventually, she would happen across 2 men walking their dogs, and as she stopped to pet them, Sabina asked the owners where the nearest hotel was. But seemingly recognizing that the woman wasn't well, one of the men, Glenn Hollenshed, offered to have her stay at his place,
Oh gosh.
to which Sabina happily obliged. But once inside Hollenshed's home,
I'm
Sabina
scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Stop. Why would you go to a stranger's house?
began acting extremely paranoid, checking the windows constantly and believing that her cigarettes had been poisoned. Despite this, though, Hollenshed was patient, and he helped her make calls around the area to track down Ursula, while making
Okay.
sure that Sabina was eating and drinking.
Okay,
The following
W?
day, Hollenshed was preparing dinner for Sabina when he stepped out of the house to ask his neighbor for tea. But just minutes after returning home with the bags, he would once again step out of the house. Only this time, he was completely covered in blood as he stumbled and screamed, "She stabbed me."
Oh my god. Why would you? For one, why would she go to a stranger house? For two, why would he see her in her current state and be like, yeah, come over to my crib? Brother, you don't need, like, oh my god. Oh my god, this is...
As he collapsed to the ground, the neighbor rushed over to try and help, but the damage
too
was already
late.
done.
Ah.
Hollenshed would let out one final soft whisper, saying, "Look after my dog for me."
No, the dog. Please don't tell me she also hurt the dog. Please no, please no. Like, this is already so bad and like pissing me off. Don't tell me that also the dog got hurt. Please.
Before breathing his final breath. For unknown reasons, in that house, Sabina had stabbed Glenn Hollenshed, and by the time law enforcement arrived, she was long gone, having fled the house with a hammer in her hand, which she
Oh
used to
my
strike her head
goodness.
repeatedly as she mumbled incoherently and walked down the sidewalk.
Oh my god.
Eventually, a man passing by tried to intervene, but Sabina immediately attacked, brandishing a roof tile that she had hidden in her pocket and using it to strike him on the head, nearly knocking him unconscious.
Oh my goodness.
It would take several minutes for police to finally catch up with her, but just like the day prior, she took off, leading to a chase that ended with Sabina being surrounded on a 40-foot tall bridge that passed over a highway, and recognizing that there was nowhere left for her to go, she jumped.
Oh my god.
Somehow, Sabina would cheat death once again.
Bro,
despite suffering
what
two
the fuck? I'm sorry, what do you mean? 3 attempts to get ran over. freaking got slammed a fucking hammer to her head multiple times and jumped off a bridge. Talk about plot armor. How the fuck is she still alive? Yo, oh my god. Oh my god, how the fuck? Look, RNG is BS. No, genuinely, how do you survive all this? And it's crazy because like she wants to basically die. Like all these things she's doing and it's not, none of it is working. Oh my goodness.
Broken ankles and a skull fracture. She was alive. And after a lengthy recovery, she was put on trial for the murder of Glenn Holinshed, where she would never give a single comment as to why she did what she did, leaving her motive a total mystery to this day. Though it seems clear that it was at least partially a result of her delusions, with the defense pointing to Folie à Deux as a potential explanation. And in the end, it was deemed that Sabina was not mentally fit to make decisions at the time of the slaying. And ultimately, she was given a prison sentence of just 5 years.
Wow. What happened to her
This is truly
sister?
one of the most disturbing TV cases of all time. And for as shocking as it is on its own, what I find most chilling is the fact that these officers mentioned holding her for a psychiatric evaluation, which ultimately never happened.
Is she under arrest, Vegas?
Well, 136 if she is.
It was a massive oversight. In fact, it was so glaring that the police department allegedly contacted the show and asked them to remove this entire section. As if they had just followed through with that code 136, Sabina would have been held for longer than just one night, which meant that she not only may have been given the help she needed, but she also never would have had the chance to meet Glenn Holinshed that fateful day. Since her release from prison in 2011, Sabina promptly disappeared from the public eye, and neither she nor Ursula has ever been heard from again, meaning we have no idea whatever happened to the Ericson twins.
They just simply tend to be making the same decision.
That was crazy. That was insane. Wow. Does this say Channie? Yo, leave me out of this. Does it say Channie or Fanny? That kind of looked like a C, but now it looks like a P. I don't know. That was insane. No, they were insane. They were.
At the same time.
All right, what is this one?
Thinking in the same way.
Super talent. I used to love this show, like America's Got Talent, whatever country got talent.
It's December 2021. A couple receives a warm welcome as they walk onto the stage, ready to compete in the Croatian television show Super Talent, the country's version of America's Got Talent. But it's clear this excitement from the crowd wasn't shared by the show's host, who turned to someone standing behind the camera and flashed the unmistakable look of concern.
Why did he give us that look?
In the minutes prior, the audience at home was introduced to the pair, 34-year-old singer Roman Bernata and his wife, 44-year-old violinist Bianca Kolompar, along with their child, who would be watching on as the two shared their musical talents with the world. In their day-to-day lives, Roman was a professional goalkeeper for a local soccer team, while Bianca was a professional violinist with a doctorate in music. And while on paper this all seems fairly normal,
Yeah, normal
it was
so
immediately
far.
clear to those watching that this couple was anything but.
Oh lord.
The two frequently went on long-winded and bizarre rants, with Bianca opening up about her breast enlargement surgery.
Ja sam imala kao cura velike grudi, velika mi je bila želja da to vratim, operirala sam.
And the two discussing at length their belief in a living God who walked the earth.
Ali ja osjetim, stvarno imam taj kontakt sa živim Bogom i mislim da je Bog svugdje oko nas, da je Bog osoba, energija, istovremeno, da.
But it was their performance itself that proved to be the strangest part of their time on the show.
Pozdrav svima.
Dobro večer.
Vi se mene ne sjećate, jel da?
Ja?
Ne. Prije puno godina.
Aha, ja se nas sjećam kad sam snimala
Ugostiteljska škola,
spot.
jel ide Hardo, ide? Je, ja se ispričavam, ali stvarno moram vas to pitati.
Roman's introduction was fairly uncomfortable, as he made mention of a time that he had met one of the judges years before, who clearly had no recollection of the encounter, which seemed to frustrate him, as his demeanor quickly became hostile.
Why is he upset?
To je vaš talent. S čim ste se došli
Ja nemam nikakav talent.
Pa šta ste onda došli?
Radit.
Okay.
Ali potpuno nebitno. Emisija se zove Super talent.
Ja vas
Kolegica...
muški volim, nemojte mi zamjeriti.
Alo, polako. Mislim da ipak ćemo mi ovdje voditi riječ.
Može, pa.
Leading to Roman receiving his first X before he even sang a single note.
Ko je kolegica pitala koji je vaš talent, a naša emisija se zove Super talent, a vi tvrdite da nemate talent, onda vas ja pitam pošto ste došli.
Radit.
Okay.
It was a rough start for the couple, and by the time they did get to perform, things only got worse.
Okay. Not bad. Not bad.
Admittedly, the couple didn't sound awful, but it was clear the judges were frustrated by Roman's demeanor, prompting all four of them to hit their X, signaling
I don't
the
think
end of
that's
the couple's
fair. Like, I
performance.
get it. It was uncomfortable, but if you're a judge to judge the talent, I feel like you should just judge the talent. But again, if he continues to do this even after his performance and he's still being disrespectful and like weird, then I get it. Like, it will eliminate him then, because then it wouldn't work for the show in the long run. But yeah, like talent, I feel like they're eliminating him based off just like the encounter and not the actual talent here.
Or at least they thought. As the two just kept on performing, playing over the sounds of the judges shouting their name and the deafening silence from the crowd. With the two going until a producer finally had to step in from behind the camera and officially cut them off. But even then, the couple continued their antics, this time by protesting the judge's decision, with Bianca even threatening to go to the newspaper and expose their behavior to the press, all while Roman stood angrily to the side, glaring.
Who's gonna tell her it's already on TV? The audience saw, the people at home saw. Now I get it. This is like post-production. It's aired afterwards, but you know.
Staring at the panel before him. And with that, Roman and Bianca's time on Super Talent was over, and they not only walked away without receiving the grand prize, but they also left with shattered reputations, as this segment became notorious among fans of Super Talent, with the couple being considered one of the most unusual acts to ever feature on the show. But despite its virality, this performance isn't what Roman is most widely remembered for today.
Audience are paid actors? What the fuck? Jump scare!
On February 6th, 2022, residents in Rijeka, Croatia were met with the sight of a fully nude man wandering the city streets. It was Roman.
You don't gotta zoom in, we
stared
see.
on in amusement,
Oh my
laughing
god.
to themselves and snapping photos. What they were witnessing was actually one of the most disturbing events the city had ever seen.
I'm scared. Where's this going?
After his disastrous performance just 1 year prior,
Did he
Roman
get
continued
kicked out
to
of the
pursue
team?
a career in singing, taking every opportunity he could to share his music with the world, often joining Bianca on her YouTube channel, and singing on the streets for tips, where he actually made a decent amount of money. Though because of his notorious television moment, he would often be harassed and even have the money he earned stolen from him.
Oh, that's not good.
One day, while performing outside of a local soup kitchen, he was introduced to a woman named Darnika Krevich, a 67-year-old who relied on the soup kitchen for consistent meals. And after hearing Roman sing, she became a legitimate fan of his music, leading to the two striking up a friendship. And despite Darnika not having much, she offered to take Roman to a local coffee shop on February 6th, 2022, where she treated him to a warm cup of tea on a cold winter day. And so the two sat inside a restaurant called the Cafe Pin, with everything seeming completely normal, until a server noticed that Roman started to look almost sickly, like he could barely keep himself upright, as his body was starting to slump over the table, his eyes barely open. The server rushed over to help, but Roman recoiled and shouted, "Just try calling the police on me." And so, not wanting to escalate things, the server left, only returning later to drop off their check, which is when Roman's behavior took an even more drastic turn. He began feeling around his pants pocket for his wallet, before looking desperately around the table, but there was no sign of it. And so he grabbed Darnika's bag and rifled through it, before yelling, "You snake, you whore, where's my wallet?" Though when he still couldn't find it in Darnika's bag, his anger turned to violence, as he stood up and rushed Darnika, grabbing her by the head and shaking her, screaming in her face, accusing her of being a thief. This time, multiple people inside the cafe rushed over to hold him back, but Roman was too strong, too angry, and with seemingly no effort at all, he pushed everyone away, completely unfazed by their attempts. In that moment, no one could have stopped Roman.
Oh my god.
Darnika was entirely helpless, and so the crowd inside the cafe watched as Roman grabbed her by the neck and dragged her behind the bar, and then proceeded to kick, then stomp,
oh my god,
and then jump directly on her. over and over again.
Oh my
each time
God.
landing on her head. It was a rage so demented that he actually began to smile, a wide manic grin, as he jumped and chanted, "Whore, witch, die." After what felt like an eternity, Roman stopped, before sprinting out of the restaurant, leaving Darnika entirely unrecognizable and dead on the floor.
Oh my
the
goodness.
same floor where, just feet away, Roman's wallet lay,
Oh.
having innocently fallen.
I'm too angry. No, I'm actually too angry. I'm generally so angry right now. So the guillotine, please. And thank you. Bro, oh my God.
Having innocently fallen out of his pocket shortly before. Outside, Roman removed his blood-soaked clothes and walked completely naked into the city center, much to the amusement of the passerbys who had no idea what he had just done, until eventually he made his way into a nearby police station and blankly stated, "I am not well." This sentiment was true in so many regards. Roman hadn't been well for quite a long time. Since a young age, it's believed he had dealt with undiagnosed schizophrenia that had led to uncontrollable anger issues, before developing an alcohol and substance abuse problem that only exacerbated his symptoms. And by the time he was an adult, Roman became so delusional that he believed he was a disciple sent from God to touch the world with his music, something that he eventually convinced Bianca of as well. So in their Super Talent episode, when Bianca mentioned their love for a living God that walked the earth, she was likely referencing Roman.
Ali ja osjetim, stvarno imam taj kontakt sa živim Bogom I mislim da je Bog svugdje oko nas, da je Bog osoba, energija, istovremeno, da.
Roman was severely unwell, and no one in his life was keeping him in check. In fact, those closest with him were only feeding his delusions, with all of his issues coming to a head on the day of the incident. And when he realized his wallet was gone, Roman rushed to assume that Darnika was the one who robbed him, perhaps as a result of having his money stolen frequently on the streets. But the sad reality was, in a sea of people trying to exploit and mock Roman, Darnika was one of the—
She was an actual fan, bro. Oh my God, like she genuinely was a fan of his work, and this is what one kind act got her. She got killed.
The few who actually truly cared about him and legitimately believed in his talents, and yet he killed her in one of the most evil ways imaginable, all over a simple misunderstanding that was entirely his fault.
Yep.
In the end,
Just
Roman Bernardo was deemed unfit to stand trial and was never sentenced to serve any jail time, instead being given a 40-year sentence in a mental health facility, where he's since been described as a model patient, with his good behavior awarding him the opportunity to leave the facility for days at a time for therapeutic purposes.
I mean, I'm all for people, you know, changing, getting the help they need and improving. Don't know if 40 years and then sometimes letting him out is the way. I don't think he should have been out, if I'm being honest. I don't think he should be. Because, like, anyone can fake being a model, you know, patient or whatever, just to, you know, be like, oh yeah, I've been so good, let me out for a day, let me drive the boat. Like, what? They could have faked it just to go outside and then have another situation happen, and then now what? Another person died. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's insensitive to say, but like I said, it's not that I don't believe that people change and improve with the proper help, but what I'm saying is that in his case, this was like such a severe reaction to a misunderstanding that it's just so hard to believe. That I don't, did he say how long before he was allowed to take some days out? Because if it was like 2 years in, 3 years in, even 5 years in, I feel like that's too soon to evaluate if he's actually ready. But yeah, I don't know, man. That is such a fucked up story. If he did die in a bar, that is, yes, where were the bouncers? Ain't no way the facility didn't have at least 2 bouncers that could outpower him. I am more mad at the bar staff. It looked like a local small bar, like not like one with bouncers and stuff, like just probably the bartenders and the waitresses, that's it. You know, it's not like a big bar, so I can't even like blame much of the bystanders. I do wish that one waitress did indeed call the police though, even though he said no and like was slumped over, because like he was still slumped over, right? Like he didn't have the energy at that point. Like if she had went back in the back where she got the check and just like made a quick call, be like, hey, like we have the situation here, you know, like I'm not sure what to do. I'm not like trying to blame her or anything, but that would have maybe given a different outcome. Worst case is like they would have came over, he would have crashed out, but then we would have authorities with potentially means to stop him. But yeah, it was just him and just regular people that did not know how to deal with the situation. I mean, in this situation, like what do you even do like as a bystander? Like it's so little stuff you can do without like risking to harm a bunch of other people too. But like I wish just more people teamed up and just jumped him. Honestly, like, oh my god, just the idea of him stomping and jumping over her body, like it sends such rage through me. It's, oh my god. People will get him out if he gets out early. He's psychotic. Murder is murder, bro. In my eyes, it doesn't matter if you're unwell. Maybe that's bad POV, but I live by the fact that murder becomes a habit. Even local bar has like one bouncer. It also depends on where you are though, brain. Like not every country works the same. Not every city in the world works the same. You know what I mean? Drunk people are hard to handle. It's the bar's responsibility. Didn't it say it's like a cafe bar? So I feel like usually in those environments it's more chill. So maybe that's why they don't have a bouncer. But yeah, I don't know, bro. But yeah, like I was saying, this just makes me so angry and frustrated. I hope that lady is resting in peace.
Nature is king here. Man can only watch and be humble.
There's nothing out there, it's your imagination.
It was the start of yet another adventure for the crew of the television show Gardener's World.
Gardener's
This
World.
British program has been on the air since the 1960s and provides viewers with tips on how to maintain their garden while showing off a variety of unique plant life, which often brought them to remote areas of the globe. This particular episode was filmed on February 5th, 2020 in the Drakensberg mountain range of Lesotho, Africa, with the host, Nick Bailey, making the long journey to track down one
Nick
specific
Bailey, that
flower.
sounds familiar.
One species which grows wild
It lowers the
all
quality
over
of
the
footage.
country.
I know.
And has been a real favourite with British gardeners for generations. It's the gladiolus.
This delicate flower would
I
have
know
been
that.
familiar with many of the show's viewers, as it was quite popular in the
That's a pretty
UK.
flower.
But in this region, there existed a unique species that had only been seen a handful of times in the last century, since it only grew in one particular valley in this one particular mountain range. Its scientific name is the Gladiolus microcarpus, and there were two
Pretty.
people who knew it better than anyone else. Rod and Rachel Saunders were well-renowned botanists who studied the world of South African flowers in depth, with their favorite being the gladioli, as they would spend days and even months on end roaming areas just like this to learn everything they could about them, making them the perfect duo to help with the show.
Why gladioli? There's so many different plant species in South Africa you could have picked.
I think their beauty. Some of them are so exquisitely beautiful, you actually just want to sit down and cry when you see them.
But even with their vast knowledge of this region, there was always an element of danger when traversing it.
Are they gonna
Its
die?
climate is often volatile, and conditions are known
I'm
to turn on a
scared.
dime, making safely navigating this area extremely difficult to downright impossible. This was apparent even on the day of filming, as a dense fog had rolled in, and given the steep and rocky landscape, one wrong step could spell disaster. This didn't stop the crew from carrying onward though, as Rod and Rachel were relentless in their pursuit. They would do anything to find these flowers, and sure enough, the segment ended as they did exactly that.
We've come about 4
We
times
found
looking
it.
for this plant, and this is the best I've ever seen it. It is looking absolutely gorgeous.
With that, Rod and Rachel's time on Gardener's World was over, but their journey through this area certainly wasn't. As the cameras cut, the crew made their way back to their makeshift base camp miles away, where they said their goodbyes, with Nick Bailey capturing a photo with a beloved couple and sharing it onto Twitter before parting ways, leaving the couple behind. As rather than returning to their home in Cape Town, this was actually just the start of what would be a multi-month expedition into this region, with the Nogoi Forest Reserve being their final destination. Along with being botanists, the couple were also avid seed collectors, and had started a business which shipped the seeds they had found to other plant lovers around the world. And while here, they made it their mission to find some of these ultra-rare gladioli seeds, and sure enough, on February 8th, 2020, Rod and Rachel sent a text to one of their employees at the seed mailing business, which contained a photo of the exact flower they were looking for. But despite this text seeming like a sign of more good things to come, the reality was far more bleak,
Did they disappear?
as this text would ultimately be the last the couple would ever send. Out of nowhere, communication with Rod and Rachel had stopped entirely, and for days no one heard anything from the duo. prompting that same employee they had sent the image to report them as missing on the 10th of February. It was a devastating turn of events, but one that was always a possibility. Poor weather, a wrong turn, an injury, anything could have derailed their expedition, as again, this area was notoriously dangerous, with it seeming all but certain that they had fallen victim to the unpredictable fury of Mother Nature, though this belief would quickly shift, thanks to the discovery of the couple's car. It was found by authorities abandoned by the edge of the Tugela River, and had been emptied of virtually everything inside. However, there was something left behind. As in the trunk, authorities would find a massive pool of blood that belonged to Rachel. Just days after filming, Rod and Rachel were making their way towards the Nagoy Forest Reserve, growing more and more excited by the discoveries they were making, oblivious to the fact that in the woods around them, they were being watched, hunted even, and not by an animal, but rather
humans,
by a man. His name was Saifundin Aslam Delvicio, a local of the area that the couple was traversing.
Saifundin, why? Why?
And on February 9th, he allegedly sent a text to his wife, Bibi Patel, telling her that he had found a good target, and that he was now in pursuit, with said target being Rod and Rachel. Later that night, the couple made their camp and began to drift off in their tent, while Delvicio allegedly watched on, and once he was certain that they had fallen asleep, he made his move, approaching the tent, then tearing it open, and then standing above the couple. In the following moments, Rod and Rachel would be brutally bludgeoned to death before they could even react, as they lay helplessly, still inside their sleeping bags. Text messages indicate that Delvicio then enlisted the help of his wife Bibi, as well as his friend Musa Jackson, to help discard the bodies, using the couple's own car to transport them to the one place they were certain they would never be found: the Tugela River, as there was something about this stretch of water that they believed would make these bodies impossible to find: crocodiles. And so they pulled up to the banks of the river as the crocodiles quietly watched on from a distance and dumped the bodies of Rod and Rachel into the water, where they were immediately devoured.
Oh my goodness.
They thought it was the perfect plan. However, it thankfully failed to work as well as they had hoped, as in the following weeks, fishermen would happen upon both of the corpses, or at least what remained of them, as they were in such bad shape that it would take nearly 2 full months for them to be identified.
Wow.
As for why this attack happened, we still don't fully know, as the trial is still ongoing, with Delvicio proclaiming his innocence, which is why everything is alleged at the moment. But the evidence is damning.
Bro, what do you mean we have literally a message of you telling your wife, "Ooh wee, I just found us a new prey to an elderly couple. Yum yum yum." Like, what the fuck? What do you mean that you're innocent? We have the messages. In 4K, we caught you. Oh my goodness.
Delvicio's phone paint a clear picture that he was responsible for this, with his motive appearing to be religious.
Just setting us the fuck back, bro. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm so mad. Oh my god, I'm so mad. He just set us back 50 fucking years. 50. I can't. I promise we're not like this. This is just that 1% that's just loud and obnoxious and hated even by us. I promise you, we're not like this. This is not us. It's not, bro. In an organization like that, one school teacher K-drama is for people like them, bro. Oh my god, I'm so upset. Like, I was already upset the moment they said his name, because I was like, oh my fucking god, fucking course. And then they show him and his wife and their friend, and I'm like, oh my god, just every footage and every message and every evidence presented, they're setting us back an extra 5 years. I hate it here. I hate it here. Generally, these kind of people just they gotta go.
Differences between him and the Saunders, as well as money, as after the slayings, large sums of money were withdrawn from the couple's bank accounts, along with lavish purchases being made on their credit cards, with one.
You generally cannot be a religious extremist and then in the same breath go and indulge in fucking luxury goods and like living lavishly. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's 1 + 1 is not 2 in this scenario. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? He's from Sweden. No, they're Muslim. Didn't you see his wife wearing a niqab, and then the friend and him too? They were wearing the. Oh my god, bro. I hate it here. Like I said, I promise this ain't us, bro. This ain't us. This is the loud, weird, obnoxious 1% that we also fucking hate and don't like because they're fucking horrible.
One of the receipts from the shopping spree being found inside of Bibi's purse. The evidence is almost impossible to deny, but while we wait for justice to be served, it's important to refocus on those who won't be here to see it happen.
I'm pissed. I was already pissed, but now I'm even more pissed.
Rod and Rachel truly did nothing wrong. They were two incredibly wholesome
didn't.
people who were just trying to find and connect.
Two lovely power couple exploring the world and nature and looking for these beautiful rare flowers and then finding the seeds to export so other people around the world can also enjoy beautiful rare flowers. And here comes these three idiots. Yeah, let's go get them. Let's hunt. Oh my god, you're weird. You gotta go. You gotta go. But did I come back to me raging, literally fuming
with the flower that they loved so dearly. And while their interview days before their death is an undeniably dark television moment, it also serves as an incredible tribute, as one of the last things they ever did in their lives was share their love and passion for gladioli with the world, the flower that they ultimately gave their lives to find.
Quite a trek to get here, and what an incredible treat to see such a special plant in such a niche environment. Thank you.
Pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Nice to be
Look
here.
at them, bro. They're like, their energy is contagious just from like this footage. I'm like, I was happy watching them happy. Fuck, man. Hope they rest in peace. I hope these three idiots are rotting in jail. Hopefully the guillotine, electric chair. Anyone involved in this, honestly. Like that guy too, the talent show guy. Rezonia is valid, thank you. I think it's valid. But yeah, this was The Darkest Moments in TV History, Part 7 by Nick Crowley. Very well put together video. Really captures the dark essence of it. The delivery was great as usual. The first two stories were more of like, yeah, the first story with the girl drowning and him finding the body just by like, I still find it weird that he was trying to demonstrate and just go deeper into that lake when he knows people easily die, and he's like, yeah, let me just show you something. Let me show you. Bro, we do not need to see. We know. I'm glad her body was found at least. And then for the two twins and their mental episode telepathically together was, yeah, that was insane. I'm surprised she kept just being alive. Like all her attempts, bro, you jumped off a bridge after literally getting hit twice by a car. Like I don't know what RNG was on their side that day, but that girl was living. Good lord. And then the talent show couple, I was with them in the beginning. I was like, they're weird, but like, we're just gonna judge objectively off talent. Let's just do that. But then yeah, you can't because they're insane, or he's insane. He gotta go. And the fact that they're just letting him be outside occasionally, which I think Nick said that he got, like, this accident happened in 2022. Correct me if I'm wrong. My memory with numbers can be horrible. But from my memory, I think he said 2022. Which means, what? It's 2026 now. So 4 years and you're already allowing him out? Too soon. Too soon. It's a no for me. I'm sorry if it sounds insensitive, but generally, to me, it doesn't sit right. And then the last one, genuinely, just guillotine, electric chair. I generally have no words. The three of them just gotta go. I'd say more, but we on YouTube. If you want to hear me unfiltered, pull up to the Twitch. But YouTube, yeah, I hope you made it to the end. Thank you for making it to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!